Well, I'm in Andorra to drive that car, the all-new RS5 from Audi. Andorra borders France and Spain, very small country, in the mountains. We're at about 2,000 meters to drive the new RS5 through some beautiful twisty roads. And this is the perfect setting to showcase what's new with the RS5. Now, what do you think of the color? It's called Sonoma Green Metallic, and it really is eye-popping. It certainly looks good on a launch car. I'm not sure if I'd pay for it, but on the outside it showcases what's different about the RS5. It's got a bigger Audi grille. The wheel fenders are being flared by 15 millimeters. It sits lower on its suspension. It's got massive wheels. You can get all kinds of carbon treatments on the outside if you're willing to pay, including a carbon roof, carbon on the inside as well. So you can really individualize the car to be exactly to your taste and to your budget. Now, I had a chance to drive the S5 and the A5 last year, and when I put the videos out, a lot of comments, people were like, I'm not sure about the new styling. With the hood creases, some people said it looked like a Ford. I kind of disagree. I think it's a really nice looking car, and I think you really need to see it in person to appreciate what Audi's doing with this car. But I really think the star of the show is what's under the hood. 450 horsepower from a brand new power plant that's going to be showing up in more Audi cars. So let's get inside and tear up these beautiful roads. All right, we're going to start up the engine, but before we get going, I want to talk about the inside just a little bit. Depending on your budget, you can change the inside and do sort of like a carbon inlay in the dash and the center console here. They have this new lighter gray sport trim, and the seats, you see the motif in the seats? Well, this one mirrors the color on the outside, that's Sonoma Green Metallic, but you can also get it in red and you can individualize the color, but this is the pattern for the RS5. And RS is now part of what they call Audi Sport. So all the RS cars are now Audi Sport cars, and their halo car is the Audi R8. So it's kind of like a new branding for Audi. As I head out, start talking about what this car has under the hood. All right, powering this car is a 2.9 liter twin turbo 6-cylinder, and that is a smaller engine than many of the competitors. It's used in this car, it's used in the Panamera, it's probably going to be used in the Cayenne and a whole host of Audi cars as well. And it really is a gem. It's got 450 horsepower and 442 pound-feet of torque. So that's up on horsepower from the M4, which is 425, slightly down from the C63, which has 469 horsepower, but this car has standard all-wheel drive, and it's got the dynamic ride control that lets you really take advantage of the suspension of this car. And driving here through the mountains, it certainly feels like the car is stuck to the road, and the big tires don't hurt either. But just listen to that engine and the exhaust. It's just so nice to use. You can go into the settings here and change it to have it exactly the way you want when it comes to the suspension and the way the engine performs. And sometimes you get these systems, they're really not that different from the softest to the firmest, but this one absolutely is noticeable. The transmission is an automatic, no dual clutch, and they're moving to that in the Audi high performance cars because they found that people who buy dual clutch cars, they like the quickness of the shifts, but they don't like the jerky on and off throttle feel, especially at lower speeds. So I would challenge anyone to say that this is slow. It's very quick and it's very responsive. We were driving on the highway in 8th gear, top gear, and I put my foot all the way to the floor, and it went from 8th gear to 3rd gear in a blink of an eye, and we were off with that 450 horsepower. So for me, the platform that Audi uses in the A4, the Q5, this car, even the Q7, really is dynamite. It's light, it's very rigid, it's a wonderful platform to bolt the suspension of a car like this onto, and then you have that gem of an engine. Really is something else. Now this RS5 is coming to Canada the first quarter of 2018, so we don't have official Canadian pricing yet, and some of the features shown might not be on every car sold in Canada, but you get an idea of what's coming, which is under the hood, that 450 horsepower. And the advantage to having an RS5 over, say, an M4 or maybe a C63 from Mercedes is the fact that you get that all-wheel drive traction. This is a wonderful car. It makes the average driver look good and a good driver look great. It really is effortless to drive, and showcasing it here has been a wonderful treat.